The following professional development activity is based on two needs identified by a campus survey. Those two programs were Schoology and Class Dojo, both of which are going to be implemented campus-wide for our virtual and our in-class students. We're hoping that these address our visions and our goals in providing students high-quality instruction and providing them with the skills needed to be successful in a global society. So I hope you enjoy. Good afternoon. Thank y'all for coming to see a professional development over Class Dojo and Schoology today. We're going to be covering a few things that we're going to implement with this program this year. I thank you for joining me on an afternoon after you've had a full day of work. So I appreciate that. So the point of this training will be to familiarize you with both of the programs we'll be utilizing. I know some of you have a little bit of knowledge from previous years, but for the most part, it's brand new to everyone. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about Class Dojo. Class Dojo is a revolution of school communication, engagement, and remote learning all in one place. So you're probably wondering, okay, what are the uses for Class Dojo? Class Dojo allows you to create a school community. It allows you to connect with every single family that we have in various methods, and it also allows us to engage our students that we have as well. So how does this align to our campus vision and goals? I know some of you are new, so you're not familiar with what our campus vision is, but our vision is to ensure that we are inspiring, enabling, and encouraging all students to learn, grow, and succeed in a global society. Class Dojo is actually going to help us meet some of these needs by providing our students with fundamentally sound skills, academic skills included in that, producing students with diversified and challenging academic, career, and life skills, enabling them to function in multiple roles in their adult lives, as well as partnering with the parents and community to realize our mission of providing a quality education for all of our students, regardless of if they are face-to-face or if they were virtual. It also allows us to instill a culture of responsibility, support, and compassion for not just students, but our employees and faculty as well. It also allows us to have a safe, secure, and orderly learning environment in all of our facilities. And again, that includes at their home as well. So the purpose of the implementation of Dojo is because now more than ever, our campus needs a method to communicate with our parents. And we are so used to having our conferences on a daily basis, making those phone calls, sending papers home. But with the whole COVID thing, that's not always a possibility this year. So this will help us bridge those gaps. As students change grade levels, we also want a unified approach. Some teachers on our campus have been using Class Tag, Remind 101. Some have used Dojo, but not with fidelity. So this is one of those things that's going to unify the whole campus. This will greatly help parents who have multiple students at home. So say you have a first grader, a third grader, and a fourth grader, those parents would have had 3 programs they have to keep up with. And that's a lot. So by the whole campus utilizing Dojo, this will make it easier for not just the parents, but you as well. So why not utilize one program that has it all? Class Dojo allows teachers to utilize an intuitive, easy-to-use interface. It's one of the easiest programs to implement. It's user-friendly, so it doesn't take a whole lot of stress and extra time to implement it efficiently. Messages in school and class stories keep everyone connected, and it also allows us to keep track of a campus directory. It will show all of our teachers, it will show all of our students, so we know who's engaged in our classroom Dojo environment and who is not. So this is going to help our face-to-face and virtual students. It provides lessons that are easily accessible to all of our students in both formats. It also provides a portfolio capability so they can store work over time. I know a lot of us have used yellow writing folders throughout the years to track writing progress, but we're not keeping work samples from all the subject areas. This also provides us with a tool for check-ins for attendance. So those of you who forget to do your attendance, the students can participate, and it will help you submit your attendance on time, and it will be accurate because the students are engaged in doing that. It also provides customizable ways to encourage behaviors within your classroom. So it gives you a little bit of freedom as the teacher as to what we're going to be doing and how you utilize it. So, as a campus, there are some great perks to this, okay? It can schedule events for long amounts of time. For instance, if we have a family math night, or if we had a virtual book fair of some kind, we can schedule that. It will send out reminders. There's no need for teachers to have to sit there and send out those reminders on a regular basis. It manages the directory of students, teachers, and staff. And it also gains insight around engagement and participation and collaboration with parents. So you can see who's participating, who's not. You kind of have a sense of where do I need to reach out and connect to those parents a little bit better. It allows both students and parents to join our classrooms and become part of our classrooms communities, which is one of our biggest goals. We want our school climate and culture to be welcoming to all of our students to create a large family, if you will. So campus-wide updates. Dojo has the ability at the campus level for the office staff to send out mass media messages, updates, reminders. So with this program, we will be able to provide the parents of students who signed the consent. We can do photo updates. We can do any of those types of things that you would normally see on like a Facebook page. We just have to have that parent permission. We can provide all families with the information they need, including the ability for teachers to see who has viewed the post. So we'll actually tell you at the bottom, this parent has viewed. Just like if you have iMessage, it's the same concept. We're able to send announcements and files such as our Tiger Tail Weekly Bulletin to the entire school community. At this point, the only way our virtual students are getting our school bulletin is via the school website. So if they don't reach out to go look at the website, they're not getting all of those updates and things that we're sending out on a regular basis. Plus, this will save with the paper consumption, so it will be a great addition to our campus. And again, it meets virtuals and face-to-face instruction. So what is Class Story? Class Story is where you can post things that are happening in your room. For instance, it would be like a Facebook story. You can see what's happening, you can post pictures, you can take notes, you can do any of those things that you would normally do on a social media platform, and it is sent to the parents. They can go in, log it, see it, and participate. If we went on field trips this year, they would also be able to see and participate in those things as well. Class Story allows you to create events that send out automatic reminders. As I already mentioned, it will send out reminders for you. That's no longer a task that you have to worry about. You have the opportunity to turn on the parent and student comments. This would be highly beneficial so that those parents can communicate with you. I wouldn't say that the students commenting would necessarily be the highest priority at the beginning level of implementation, but it's something we definitely want to work towards for engagement. For the departmentalized grade levels, so that would be our 3rd and 4th grade levels, you can add co-teachers. So for instance, in 4th grade, you can have Miss Petty, Miss Miller, and Miss Class all in one combined classroom. So they're called co-teachers. They don't have to create 3 separate accounts. The parents see one account throughout the day. This also allows you to collaborate with the portfolios and the messaging as well. So it's very helpful in that aspect. The parents don't have to have 3 separate accounts, just one. Communication messaging. This is the primary benefit of why Dojo is so successful besides the behavior implementation part of it. Families are able to stay connected even if their information changes. Messages provide automatic translations, so those language barriers that we normally have, they're now eliminated. There are read receipts, so you can see who has read the messages. It will schedule the reminders for you. The capability to send files, folders, anything for differentiation purposes is a possibility, and any resources you might need to send. You can also establish quiet hours for when you are not available. So this will be a perk for you. There's no more receiving messages at 8 o'clock at night when you're with your family. It will only send during your quiet hours. It will still be there when you log in, but it's not going to alert you and disturb your family time. And they'll actually receive a message that says this person is this is their quiet hours. They'll respond to you whenever. So it's really convenient, and they know that you're not just ignoring them. So it will be great for our classrooms. Translations. This was one of my favorite parts because we have so many families that we're not able to reach. We're not able to communicate. We don't have a translator here on our campus, so we have to reach out to other campuses. So you don't even have to assign the languages. The program will automatically allow them to choose. You send out your message in whatever language you prefer. The parents get the option to choose over 35 languages to choose for their how they're going to read it or their preferred method. It provides data on what languages they use. So say you don't know what language this student's family speaks at home, it will actually tell you what they've been selecting the whole time. So if you did have to send paper home, you would know what language it would need to be in. The portfolios, we're still utilizing those yellow folders again. My goal is that we shift to the digital world where everything is digital so that we no longer have those paper trails and end of the year folders that are messy from kindergarten all the way to 4th grade. The portfolios will allow students to engage when they are both in the classroom and at home, meeting the needs of our virtual students. You won't have to worry about getting paper back from your virtual students. It's all right there for you. Students have the capability of utilizing voice notes, captions, and annotations. This will help some of our kids with perhaps dyslexia. They'll be able to annotate stuff. They will be able to have stuff read to them through this app. You don't have to utilize it in that manner, but it's an option that's available to you. Students are able to log in themselves by using QR codes, class codes, Google logins, which they already have from our district, so that's very helpful. The best part is the portfolios follow the students from year to year. So from kindergarten all the way up to 4th grade, they're going to have that data, including pre-K as well. But there's no recreation of that account every year, no lost data. So activities. Students can participate in activities that you assign to them, regardless of their learning environments. When posting to your class story, students commenting can be turned on to engage students in the video lessons and more. A new opportunity that's coming in 2020 is the ability to assign worksheets. So you'll be able to assign worksheets in there. So if you're not utilizing Schoology, there's another option of Dojo. Okay? So social and emotional content. This is one of those added perks that is with Class Dojo. Okay? The well-being of our students in both the social and emotional aspect are a critical part of their development. If they're not okay socially and emotionally, are they really likely to learn? No, okay? We got to meet those basic needs before we can expect them to obtain and retain our instruction. Class Dojo actually provides social emotional content, including videos. Some of them might be a growth mindset, empathy, respect. A lot of those things that we have in our school motto are included in these videos. The social emotional concepts are taught through videos, discussion guides, and follow-up activities. And I actually thought this would be so beneficial for our students since they've had a year full of everything unexpected, that this might be meeting some of their needs that we can't personally fulfill. So by putting a video in their cognitive ability or where they can comprehend it will be an asset to us. So I'm going to give you a preview of this video.
Chapter 3. Katie discovers the incredible power of yet. Our story begins with Katie, a friendly monster who loved being the smartest one in class. Until one day, when something unsettling happened. It was Katie's favorite time of the day, science class. She was always the best at science. But today, something was different. Everyone was having a great time working on a fun project. But Katie just didn't get it. She started to ask for help. But then she had a frightening thought. If she asked for help, everyone would see she really wasn't so smart after all. She decided to keep quiet and pretend everything was okay. A little while later, Katie was sitting at lunch, feeling glum, when Mojo stopped by. "Katie, you're a genius," said Mojo. What?" said Katie. I was working on this project today, said Mojo, and I got stuck. Normally I would just give up and start throwing paper airplanes. But then I remembered what you said about how your brain is like a muscle. And I thought, hey, it's not like I can't do this. I just can't do it yet. So I turn to Bruce and I say, hey, Bruce, I don't get this yet. And he's all like, no problemo, Mojo. I'll help you figure it out. So we worked on it together. And now we have the sweetest volcano you've ever seen. That's great, Mojo, said Katie. But weren't you embarrassed to ask for help? No way! Why would I be embarrassed when I could be learning something new? Well, Katie couldn't believe it. She'd been teaching Mojo all about the brain. But maybe it was time she learned a lesson from him. What do you think? Can Katie learn something from Mojo? Now that's an interesting question indeed.
So that's just one of the previews of the many videos that they have. It also provides you with a discussion to talk about with your students. You could assign this in part of the activities for them. It's not mandated, but it's still a good conversation piece, okay? So what I want you to think about with your table for just a few minutes is, how would you be able to implement these into your daily schedules, okay? So if you'll talk with the people at your table for just a moment, how could you implement these social, emotional lessons into your daily routine?
As students arrive, they can watch the video, and that way they've already watched the video, that's kind of thinking about the discussion together.
How is it something that happened at some point, maybe even if they want something, maybe either start on the next day or lesson, whenever it's with a little video, and that way you can do something they can write about it and write the journal, just what they got out of it, whatever they're going to do next time.
I think the writing piece allows students who aren't going to share out loud a chance to get their thoughts down. And the teacher can kind of see where all students are.
Okay, let's take a brief minute, finish up where you were at, and let's share a few things that we've talked about. What suggestions would y'all suggest of how you could implement this?
We discussed holding the discussion during morning meeting, and even as students arrive, they could have the iPads ready to watch the video, and then once you come as a class to the carpet, you could start the discussion. And then Ms. Bellman brought up writing piece, and so that way if students don't feel comfortable sharing in person, they can write their thoughts and feelings down on their paper.
I love that. Excellent idea. Ms. Rebecca, do you have any ideas?
We usually do, in kindergarten, a social emotional lesson every day during carpet time, and so it would be very easy to slip these in there and use them.
You wouldn't have to go search on YouTube anymore.
No, and we do search a lot on YouTube, so it would be nice.
Okay. What did y'all think of?
I think it'd be great. Well, I've been struggling with doing my social skills lessons with my virtual students.
Okay.
So this would be very easy to do.
I liked how relatable it is. I mean, even I on a daily basis have the difficulty of knowing, I can't do something yet. So this doesn't just apply to our students, and they need to know those types of things. So I feel like the implementation of using these on a regular basis, even when you don't have recess, you might be able to slide one in. I think it would be very helpful for our students. So the main focus of this program is behavior management, and that's probably the number one reason that they are recognized is because of their behavior program. Okay, so it focuses on a point system. So each day you could either start off giving them points, taking them away, or adding. It's totally up to you how you utilize this. It's your choice. The main focus is we don't necessarily want to be looking at the negatives. Okay, we use PBIS. We want to be looking at the positives of what our kids are doing. Let's find the model behavior and reward those kids, and hopefully the rest will follow suit. Now, yes, you're going to have those kids where the dojo is not effective for them, okay? And we'll go from there, we'll develop some interventions with those kids. But for the most part, from what I have researched, kids are very responsive to this program, so I feel like it will be very beneficial. while we could remove points, I think it would be better if we were being diligent in rewarding those students with this. So that will be a good thing to implement. So with those skills, you'll be able to decide what rules you want to reward, what things you don't want to reward. It is totally teacher-led, teacher-decided. For instance, you can have skills such as perseverance for those kids on remote learning. You know as well as I do that getting your Zoom to work, participating, that's a challenge for these kids. Some of them are 5 to 9 years old and they're operating a computer as if they went to college, have a degree, just like us, okay? So you can reward points for things that you feel is important or something they can relate to. With the opportunity to provide customizable feedback, it's timely, you can do it instantly, it's specific, they know what they've done, and it's individualized by each student. It's not giving a mass, oh, y'all have done great, let's all go outside, while 3 of you have not done what the expectations are. It allows for self-reflection, and it also provides them the opportunity to have goal setting. Okay? So say they want to earn 10 points, they get to choose, how am I going to do this? It's your choice, again, how the data is shared with family. It will send reports home, they can access it if you want to see the newsletter home, or if you just want parents to utilize their phones, emails to check these points. It's up to you how you implement that. Something that I was not aware of prior to adopting and implementing this program for our campus this year is there is a teacher toolkit, and it's phenomenal. I've seen it in action. Many of you have expressed the concern for having so many windows open at one time while you're in a Zoom meeting. This will help eliminate that because many of the things you use on a daily basis to stay on schedule, such as what would you use? What would you use? Timer. What else do y'all use?
Noise meter.
Noise meters, okay. There's all kinds of things, but some of you are utilizing your phone. Well, if you're utilizing your phone while you're instructing your kids, they're young. They don't understand, hey, she's not really looking at text messages or reading an email. She's really paying attention to me. So that will help some of that as well. But you'll be able to use the timer on the screen. You won't have to worry about, hey, what is she doing? It allows you to have a randomizer. It will randomize groups. It will create groups. There's a noise meter, a timer. There's a page that allows you to do today. It's like a calendar board and directions. So if you want them to come in the mornings and complete certain activities in a certain order, it allows for that as well. There's a think, pair, share activity on there. It has music. So if you want some calming, relaxing music for those kiddos as they're working, it even has that. And we'll take a look at that in just a minute. The toolkit allows you to keep track of attendance and tardies if you choose to use it in that way. In addition to the grouping tool, some of you are really going to like this. You can choose a setting that says do not group together. So for those kiddos, this is never going to work. If they get assigned to this group, you have the option to select do not group with, and it will never group them together. And the kids are going to be wondering, how does she always push that button and I never get with that person? Well, there's magic. So collaboration for students, this is dependent upon how comfortable you are with the program. Students can comment on the class story to engage with classmates. This setting would be beneficial for our virtual students because they're not getting that interaction that the kids in our classroom are, even with the mask on. So this will be a way that they can interact with each other and engage and get that social interaction. Students can complete activities at home and inspire conversations among students and families. So resource pages. I provided you with a folder of really beneficial resources, but the resources that they provide are endless. So if you go to their website, they have a help desk, and I can show you that as well, but it will be very helpful when you develop your Class Dojo and start implementing it yourself. Class Dojo provides a teacher help section. There are tons of ideas. There are webinars. There's resources for remote learning, and that's a specific tab for remote learning. There's some handouts, as I mentioned. It should be really easy to implement, and I feel like it's going to be really successful for our campus. So the Class Dojo community, Class Dojo actually has a Facebook page that you can join. There are ideas from teachers. There are problem-solving ideas. Say something's not working for you. How do I implement this most successfully? Those are some options you have with that Facebook group. Pinterest. Prior to this, I wanted to see, okay, can my teachers find resources, point systems, things to help them? It's endless, okay? I can't say that enough. Like if you'll just type in Class Dojo rewards, reward systems, Class Dojo anything, you're going to have tons of results come through. And a lot of them are really effective and will help us with our instructional practices and methods as well. So we're going to dive in and get started. So if you will, in just a moment, we're going to make our way to the hallway and we're going to get a laptop and we're going to start actually working on our dojo accounts. And we'll get those set up and running, and then we'll go from there to adjust and see how many other questions we have. So now that we've talked about dojo briefly and we've worked on it on our laptops, we're going to go ahead and head into Schoology, which is our second program that we're going to implement this year. Bridging that gap between our face-to-face instruction and our virtual students will be done through Schoology. So what is the purpose of this professional development? Much like our dojo, it is going to be a platform that will be utilized to provide high-quality instruction to our virtual students. It also aligns to our campus vision and goals, which again, we're to create those students who can learn, grow, and succeed in a global society. We're going to be doing that through this method by providing our students with fundamentally sound academic skills, producing students with diversified and challenging academic, career, and life skills, enabling them to function in multiple roles in their adult lives. We're providing effective and integrated technology infrastructure. They've got to learn how to use that technology to receive that classroom instruction. We're partnering with the parents and members of the community who are helping us to meet our technology needs to help us address the mission of providing quality education for each of our students. To instill a culture of responsibility, support, and compassion for all of our students and employees. It's going to take all of us working together to learn this new program. It's a little overwhelming, and I understand that, but if we're working all together, it should be a great experience. So why is this applicable to you? We all are going to be teaching virtual and face-to-face students at some point throughout the year. You might not be starting the year with that, but you will have to do it, I'm sure, at some point. If we were to shut down, we're all transitioning to virtual only, so this will be beneficial for all of you. Each teacher will be teaching face-to-face and virtual, and Schoology is going to be where your students access your assignments. They can join your Zoom meetings, your Zoom rooms, access any of their assignments and classroom activities. In what way should the program be used for teachers? So this is your perspective of the program. It's going to provide your virtual students their instruction. It's going to allow you to communicate and collaborate with your virtual students. It will allow you to assign work to your students. So this is how you'll be sending out work. We're not going to have the drive-by pick-up packet method, okay? It's not as effective. It's not safe for you or anyone else involved, so this is what we're going to do to bridge that gap. And we're providing the needed supports for our students to be successful. So how do students use Schoology? Based on the grade level you're at is going to be dependent upon how you utilize it and to what extent. It allows them to stay up to date on classroom information from teachers. You turn in assignments, you can receive feedback from teachers, they can check their grades, collaborate with their peers, participate in class instruction, and they can do this anytime, any place. It doesn't matter if they're at their parents' work with them or at home, they can still join and participate in instruction. So how do parents use Schoology? They can receive daily or weekly course summaries of what their child is doing. They can view their child's courses that they're enrolled in. They can see the upcoming events and assignments and check the grades just like the students can, providing that the teachers utilize the gradebook in Schoology. Schoology and eSchool are partnered together. It will link your grades from Gradebook to, your grades from Schoology to grade book without you doing any, like you just link it and it will go straight there overnight around 2 or 3 in the morning. So that will be helpful if you want to utilize it in that aspect. Schoology follows their child to have, oh, that should say allows, I'm sorry about that. So Schoology allows their child to have access to any course they're enrolled in. You cannot interact in a course and you can't view other students' information. So a parent cannot view anyone's information except for their own child. They can't see who else is participating when or what they're doing, just mainly when their child is contributing. So there's a group versus resources option. All of you work for Hyde Park and you work for Denison ISD. As part of that, you're going to be enrolled in 2 different groups. From my understanding, the curriculum department will also be creating grade level PLC folders for you, but you can also create your own grade level folders. So you'll be able to access resources, share with your teammates, and collaborate that way. And then if we did have to close due to COVID, then you would still have all of those things at home. You wouldn't have to meet here, and it would just benefit everyone. So that's groups. That will help with our vertical alignment and all of that business. Resources are the things that you share with people. The resources can be part of the groups, but it's just where you find those instructional materials. It can store your personal materials. It would be similar to a Google Drive or anything like that. You can actually send things from one year to the next year and with little work. The resources, again, are saved from year to year. You won't have to worry about keeping that file cabinet of master copies in order from year to year. They'll just be there for you. So here's an example of what some groups look like. As you can see up here, you have the curriculum and content, gaming club, and readers club. So that's 3 different clubs that a teacher is engaged with and participating in. Okay. When you actually type on the groups tab, it will take you to a page that shows you all of the events, all of the messages for the club or whatever group you're in, and all of the options on the side allow you to find resources, look at the members, contact people, and anything of that nature. So this is just a larger view of what the resources looks like, which is different than the groups in that it stores all of your things just like a flash drive would. It's just a storage unit. So linking courses. I have found that this is going to be super beneficial for our 3rd and 4th grade teachers. Since you are departmentalized, you have 2 sections of every subject you teach. By linking your courses, you will be able to only do 1 group of work. So you're not adding to 2 folders each week. That adds up really fast, and I don't want you to spend that much time away from your family and kids just to accomplish 1 platform. Okay? So when we link these in just a little while, it will allow you to only do the job 1 time. So you don't have to do it twice. You don't have to worry about things uploading here. Not in this course. It does it seamlessly for you. So this is a course view of what it might look like when it is linked. Okay? So you have your attendance. You'll have, like for instance, this one has fine arts, science, and math. There are 2 courses inside each of these shells that you can't tell because it has put them together. So it makes it a little bit easier on the eyes. It's not going to be as much for you to look at or as overwhelming. So creating folders. I know a lot of us are super organized, so I thought that y'all would love this because you can create folders. The folders will store what you have for each week. For instance, you could have a week 1, which will contain everything the student uses for week 1. Inside that week 1 folder, you can have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Inside those folders, you can have more folders. You can also color code it if you're super happy about that. It allows you a lot of functionality and the ability to be organized. The more organized we are, the better and more effective it will be for our students. So to create that folder, you'll end up going to course materials, add materials, and then add a folder. And we'll go through what this looks like. You have to have a title for a folder. So this is what you want the kids to see when they first log in. You'll enter you don't have to choose a folder color. It's totally optional. If not, it'll assign it to blue, I'm pretty sure, every time. You'll add a description. Again, that's optional of what do you want your students to be doing. A start date, some of our students will want to work ahead. They'll say, oh, I know everything in this folder, so let's just keep going. You might consider putting dates in so that they can't access that until the needed time. You can assign an end date. So when that assignment is due, it will tell the students, here's your assignment, when is it due? And set the availability of the students, and it will show those dates again to them. So here's what a sample of what it looks like to make a folder. You have your title, your folder color, your description, which goes in the box, and then you have your dates. There's a beginning date and an end date to the folder, and you can choose the availability of if you want published or unpublished, bless you. So that is an option that is available to you. Unpublished just means that the students can no longer see it. Published, they can. So managing materials in those folders. Once you have a folder, you'll be able to reorganize them, drag and drop. So it's not a one-time stuck, I don't like it, I can't change it. You have the option to do so. There's going to be a gear icon that will be critical to your success that allows you to move it. You can edit it once you've done it. Nothing in this program is permanent. It's very user-friendly. You can move the items to another folder, and you can copy it to another course. If I want to do something for math and I want to utilize it cross-curricular for another subject, you can do that as well. It's going to delete it from that section. If you ever delete something and you think, oh no, I've deleted something, it goes to one location, so there's not ever really a permanent delete. So you don't have to worry about that. Saving to resources allows you to house the material and resources for future use, and you can share it with your vertical alignment teams, other campuses, or anyone on our campus that would need access. Adding materials is very user-friendly as well. There's a drop-down menu that you'll see, and it'll be on the left side. You'll be able to select which course you're adding, and you'll be able to add materials with the Materials button and choose the content type. So to add those materials to the folder, once the folder has been created, you can begin adding assignments, tests, quiz, files, links, your Zoom links, anything of that nature, or albums. To add a folder, you would follow the following steps. It's just important that you pay attention to what folders and materials you're putting where. It's really easy to switch them up of where they're going, and then you're like, well, I don't know where it's at. So just be mindful of that. Just take your time and work through it slowly, and it'll allow you to change it again. So the drag and the drop of the folders. This is where I mentioned that you could move the folders. At first glance, you'll see folders and it will look like you cannot move anything. If you will click on them, hold it, and then drag it, as you can see in this picture, it will highlight. There's a green and a gray. It will move it up. You can import stuff from folders. It allows you to do a lot of different things. There's a drag and drop option. Once you have a folder, one folder in the course, that's where that gray line appears. If it's only the first folder, there won't be two gray lines. So don't look for a line if there's only one folder. You can import from the resources, and you can create folders from the instructions that are above. So adding assignments, which is the number one thing that y'all are questioning, what do I do with this, okay? Where do I go from here? There is an option on the Add Materials tab. It gives you every option available to you. So you can add a test or a quiz, add an assessment, add a file, link, or external tool, add a discussion, add a page. That's more of the larger scale. Add a media album, a package, or again, find resources in those resource folders. The options that you have, you can assign things. I really like this because this will help in some of our SLC classrooms and our SPED classrooms where they are assigning individual assignments to specific students. So the whole class doesn't have to get the same assignment. So there are customs at the bottom. It will have a little circle and it will say individually assigned, and there's like 3 dots, I'm pretty sure. So you'll be able to assign it to just those kids that you want to receive that. You can align the learning objectives. It will align to Common Core or the state standard. If there's a lock, it prevents the students from making submissions. So make sure, I know in the beginning, most of our students are not going to turn stuff in on time. They're still learning how to work it. So you might make sure that your lock is turned off so that they can submit those after the due date. Grade statistics. This displays the statistics for the assignments to students, which is located in an icon above the assignment submissions. You can enable comments. This allows students to comment on the assignments. You can also copy to courses. So copy the assignment with the current settings and options to another course. As well as publish to the student. That's again showing what can the student see, what can they not. Submissions, this is what it would look like when a student submits their work. It's going to give you a notification underneath the bell. It's going to pop up on the right side. So when a student makes a submission to an assignment, you're going to receive a notification at the top of Schoology, and it's going to tell you the exact name of the student, what they've turned in, and when they did it. The submissions feature is located in the column of the assignment, in the right column of the assignment. You can also access it by clicking the assignment listed in the calendar. You use this area to manage student submitted files. Submitted files are to be organized on time, or they could be late. It will tell you whichever it is. Based on the assignments, due date, you can download or view those individual assignments as you go. So it will let you grade these digitally. Grading, there is a document viewer option. I was reading yesterday that you can actually have a writing stylus. For those of you who teach writing, especially our 4th grade English language arts teachers, you can take their expository writings, you can make annotations on it, make suggestions, and even any other subject areas. If you're doing journal writing, you can respond to those students and send it back to them. So that will be super helpful with that. Entering the grades, there's an option to enter those grades on the grade book. Option for when you view the assignment, it will be a little rectangle box at the top, and you'll just click inside that box. Something to be mindful of before we move on to assessments and quizzes is that there is an option to show students comments. If you give them a grade and comments and you don't click that option, they will not be able to see what you've given them or said to them. So if you're grading electronically, they're not going to know, well, what did I miss? They're just going to see a grade, and that's not going to really make a lot of sense to our younger kiddos. So be mindful of that. Creating assignments and quizzes, again, that handy dandy add materials tab will allow you to add whatever type of format or method you would like. Select the dates, the due dates. A lot of you will have difficulties with this the first time because you're going to have to establish a category. This would either be daily, exam, or if you wanted to do a participation, you could. Whatever you have in eSchool for your categories will be similar to what it is here. If you don't set it up that way, when it submits to eSchool at night, it won't transfer those grades, and I know that that will be beneficial to a lot of you. So adding links, files, and external tools, there will be a box that pops up under that Add Materials options, and you have the option to add any of these 3 things. Again, this is going back to that individually assigning materials. You can assign those assignments, quizzes, tests, assessments, and discussions to those small groups, or you can create grading groups. And then using student completion rules. There is an option where they complete each folder. You won't let them go on from this folder or assignment until they've completed that first assignment. Discussions is another option where they can add discussion comments, collaborate. They respond to each of those kids in the virtual format. So again, it's that Add Materials tab. This is more about discussions. I'll let you read about that a little bit more, and we'll talk about it as we start adding stuff to our Schoology accounts. Google Drive. So this is the most beneficial aspect for you as a teacher. You already have a Google account from Denison ISD, so you can just utilize that account to access this, but you will have to have 2 apps downloaded. And those 2 are the Google Drive Assignments and the Google Drive Resource app. It will not work unless you have those 2 apps downloaded. So this is what it looks like when you have properly downloaded Google Drive. It will give you an option when you click Add Assignment, and it says Google Drive Assignments. You'll click on that, and then you will be able to move on from there. It's going to be highly beneficial for you to utilize on a regular basis. There's squares at the top. Those 4 squares at the top to download these apps will be your key to being successful on this. The professional development opportunity that I facilitated today for Class Dojo and Schoology focuses on 3 standards. The first being the tax standard, which is C11. Then I moved on to the commissioner's standard, which was standard 2A. And then lastly, I covered the domains and competencies, and I focused on domain 3, competency 5E.